When you think about a crime, what usually comes to mind? Probably some kind of bad result, right? A stolen wallet, a broken window, someone getting hurt. But what if I told you the law could punish an act that caused, well, no harm at all? We're going to dive into a really fascinating corner of criminal law where the action itself is the crime. So let's just put the question right out there. Is an act still a crime if nothing bad actually happens? I mean, if no one gets hurt, nothing gets damaged, has a crime really been committed? It might sound kind of strange, but the answer is a big resounding yes. So how is that even possible? Well, to get our heads around it, we need to understand that the law doesn't treat all offenses the same way. There are different categories. And for what we're talking about, the most important split is between what are called conduct crimes and result crimes. Okay, so here it is, the fundamental difference. On one side, you've got result crimes. That's what we're all used to. The law is focused on a harmful outcome. But on the other side, that's where you find conduct crimes. And here, the outcome, it doesn't matter one bit. The entire focus is on the behavior. The act itself is what's illegal. End of story.
All right, let's really zoom in on these conduct crimes, because this is exactly where we find the answer to that question we started with. And honestly, it tells you a lot about why a society might decide to outlaw something before any damage can even be done.
So here's the official definition. A conduct crime is one where the actus reus, and that's just a fancy legal term for the guilty act, is the prohibited conduct all by itself. It doesn't matter what happens next, what the consequences are. The behavior is the crime. And this quote from a legal analysis just nails it, doesn't it? The guilty act part of the crime is checked off the list the moment the forbidden action happens. Zero consequences needed. The act is illegal, and that's all it takes.
Okay, I get it. This can all feel a little abstract, so I think the best way to make it click is to look at some super clear real-world examples. Crimes where absolutely no harm needs to occur for someone to be in trouble. First up, perjury. This is when someone knowingly lies under oath. Now think about this. The crime is completely second that lie is spoken in court. It is totally 100% irrelevant whether the judge believes the lie, if the jury is swayed, or if it changes the outcome of the case at all. The act of lying in that specific context is the crime.
Next, let's talk about possession offenses. This is a big one. Think about things like illegal drugs or unregistered firearms. The crime is simply having the thing. Someone could have it in their bag, walk around all day, go home, and literally nothing happens to anyone. Doesn't matter. The simple act of possessing it is the crime.
And finally, here's what's often called the textbook example. Driving while disqualified or driving without insurance. You get behind the wheel in either of those situations, you are committing the crime. It doesn't matter if you're the safest driver on the planet for that trip and you get home without a scratch. The prohibited act is just driving the car, not causing a crash.
So, after seeing these examples, the big question is, why? Why does the law do this? Why punish the act itself, totally separate from any result? Well, it really boils down to two things: a practical legal reason and a much bigger social goal.
So, from a legal standpoint, it just makes things way simpler for certain offenses. For the prosecution, they don't have to prove a bad thing happened. They don't have to draw a line connecting the action to the harm. All they have to do is prove that the person did the forbidden thing. But the bigger idea, the societal reason, is that this is how we try to stop dangerous behaviors before they ever get the chance to cause any damage. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've been talking about criminal law, but this idea, punishing the act, not the outcome, it's everywhere when you start looking. So think about it. What other rules in your life, maybe at work or school or even in your own family, are based on your conduct, not on the final result? It's a pretty interesting lens to look through when you think about the why behind the rules we all live by.